Welcome back to another episode of the Idolmaster Shiny Color Season 2. So this is gonna be the final episode of the season. Of course, we have the OVA after it, but for now, this is gonna be the final episode of the season. And also after this episode, I'm gonna give my full thoughts because I know not as many people are gonna be probably watching the OVA. So after this episode, I'm gonna give my thoughts on the entire series and stuff if you're interested in that. And also I'm gonna talk about which are my favorite series, my favorite characters altogether. So that's gonna be at the end of this episode. So just a heads up. But in the previous episode, we got a really good episode about Toru. I really like that episode, talking about virality and talking about how she takes virality, which was an interesting take on it, because usually when you see a take on virality, it's about the stress of it, and it's about how you're trying to get used to a new environment. Meanwhile, with Toru, it seems like she was actually really good at taking the entire environment, but she was more so worried about about feeling guilty that she's doing less work than everyone else, but still getting way bigger of a return from it, right? She's getting a lot more results from putting in less work, and she was feeling guilty about it. So she had a really good talk with Mano. This was the second talk that we saw between her and Mano, but I love those talks that they have together. They're always really good. And yeah, she had a talk with Mano, and after the talk, she decided, you know what, I am going to actually put in the effort as well. I'm not just gonna, let this wave of virality carry me to success. I also want to put in the effort to be successful, to feel like I achieved something, right? So we saw her actually putting in the effort alongside Koito, who's always been training and putting in a lot of effort, right? She's been putting in the effort now as well. So it was just a fantastic episode. I love these character-based ones. Now I wonder what the last episode is gonna be all about. I was talking about it could be a performance, it could be an episode centered around illumination stars. I don't know, I guess we'll find out. And oh yeah, the last thing that I want to talk about is there was a poll on the channel for what anime is going to be replacing the Idolmaster on the channel, and this one. So as of recording, I actually don't know which one won yet because I haven't seen the poll results, but hopefully I remember to edit in a picture to what anime just won it. Otherwise, it's gonna be very awkward. But it is also possible that I'm just gonna forget. So anyways, yeah. So yeah, if you wanna watch this uncut and unblurred, as always, on my Patreon in the description, and let's go into the Idolmaster Shiny Color Season 2, Episode 12. Illumination stars? The brilliance of this moment alone. Aww. Oh. Oh, all of the callbacks to the episodes. That's great.
しっかり焼き付けたいんです。
That was loud.
それが今の彼女
I'm so glad we're getting performances. I was really hoping we would. Also it's normal length, okay. It's a louder episode than usual. Prism Flare. Tsubasa Pro Second Life Tour. Let's see it. I feel like this is gonna be very muted on YouTube, like this entire episode. Similar to the Halloween one. So sorry about that. Oh, I love that pick. This is a great song. I actually really like it. It's really catchy. Ah,
ンバイお願いします。
はーい。見に行こう。あるかも。海。
I knew it. Yeah. Yeah. Get those smiles up. Knock chill. Oh, you see the light sticks in the eye. Damn. Ah. Yeah, let's see an actual performance from them. Okay. Everyone but Madoka is smiling. Can we spot a Madoka smile? Not yet. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm gonna go back later. Actually, let me go now. Because I'm gonna forget. Did she smile? I think she smiled for a frame. Oh, look at Hina now. Going crazy. Oh, this is a banger. Oh, that was a smile. That was a smile in my book. Great performance. Oh, that is most certainly a full-blown smile. Mano.
まだドキドキしてる。生きてる今。ありがとうマノちゃん。
その羽はそれぞれに違っていて、それは迷いのない光のようで、夢を見上げた眩しさのようで、思いが織りなす美しさのようで、互いを信じ重なって新たな輝きが生まれていく。それはみんなの今だけの生きてるって輝きなんだ。
よろしく。
Nice. Let's do it.
私たちシャイニーカラーズです。皆さん楽しんでいただけましたか？ありがとうございます。初めてのアルバムに初めてのツアー、きっとみんなどんなアイドルになりたいんだろうって一人一人考えながら今日この日を迎えました。一人一人だけど一人じゃなくて大切な仲間がいて、私たちをいつも支えてくださる皆さんも。だから私たちは答えを探し続けて前に進むことができるんだって思っています。今この胸にある思いを大切にしてもっともっと羽ばたいていきたいです。これからもよろしくお願いいたします。では最後の曲です。聴いてください。プリズムフレア。
Yup. Yup. Nice. Of course. Of course it's gonna be this one. I didn't know the title was actually Prison Flare. So I didn't know it was gonna be this one until I started playing the opening. What a banger. Oh, that was a nice segment there. Oh, that was cute. The winks. The wing galore.
しても誰かが笑ってくれるのなら、誰かが前を向いてくれるのなら、私はここに立ち続けたい。
絶えず輝きは増し、変わり続けていく。俺も
Koito is so tiny next to everyone else.
みんなみたいに。
きっとこれが私たちの翼。空に描く私たちの翼。私たちは知らなかったんだ。これから始まる奇跡も、自分のことも。でも、輝くほどに形を変えて、どこまでもきっと、必ずこの空を羽ばたいていける。
That's a wrap. That is a wrap. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy that we got a performance for the final episode, of course. That's interesting. I was 100% sure, or not 100, but like 90% sure that at least one of these episodes, because we saw, starting with like the second half of the season, we saw, you know, every episode being centered around one of the units, and I thought one of the episodes gonna be kind of centered around Illumination Stars, but no, they decided to not do that, which is interesting. I guess the Illumination Stars girls got, like, had enough spotlight. But either way, let me talk about, well, first of all, the episode, yeah, as I said, I love that. I love that. I have absolutely love the entire Nocturne segment here, and I think it was really well done. Not too much to say about it, just a really good way to wrap it up, right? But as I said at the beginning, at the beginning of the episode, I'm gonna talk more about my thoughts on, well, first of all, I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on Shiny Colors, and then I'm gonna go back and talk about my thoughts on the entire series, my favorite stuff and things like that, my favorite characters. But first, when it comes to Shiny Colors, all in all, I thought it was a really, really solid series. I know that a lot of people, or not a lot, but like a few people that I've seen talk about it, I saw that the reason why it isn't as acclaimed, I guess, or as held in as high of an esteem as the other series is because it, compared to the game, it doesn't do many new things and stuff like that. It also like doesn't give many new songs. For me, who's anime only, obviously, and I'm judging it from anime only lens, all of the songs that I got were new songs to me, so I did not mind that at all. But there were things that I missed in this show, and that is and I talked about it multiple times, that is the entire fun element that the other Idolmaster shows definitely had. So I know that they were going for a different feel to the show, but yeah, I did miss the entire segments of, you know, just where you can tell that the staff was having fun. Here, this one didn't have any segments where I felt like, okay, this was just staff getting the creative, having the creative freedom to do some kind of like fun episode where they can actually like just do some random stuff and it'd be fun and stuff like that. And also the voice actors as well. Even though the voice acting obviously is great. In the fun episodes, you can definitely tell where the voice actors are purely there to like have fun and stuff like that. And this season had some really creative episodes though. The most creative one that I can think of, well, there are two that I think really stand out in that element, and one of them is the one with the cameras where they're shooting the documentary. That one was fantastic. That's definitely my favorite episode of season 1, right, when they are shooting the documentary. And the other fun one was the Hokura episode in season 1, where they were putting on a play, right, which I thought was really, really good. But the good points, I think, of Shiny Colors, not Million Stars, Shiny Colors is the characters. I think the characters are so good, or not specifically, but especially character designs. Character designs, I think Shiny Colors has my favorite character designs in all of Idolmaster. Yeah. The character designs in Shiny Colors are fantastic. I absolutely love them. And also the character writing was also really good. I think all the characters were really, really fun, but I think that is in every single series, every single Idolmaster series. I think the designs are what set this apart and put it on a different level. like from the visual standpoint. So yeah, the character designs were fantastic. I think my favorite character design purely from the visual standpoint is either Yuika. It's either Yuika or Toru. I also really like Rinze, but over time I think I like Toru and Yuika were the ones who stood out the most to me. So yeah, Toru and Yuika are definitely up there. I think Yuika actually edges it out as my favorite character design, probably in all of Idolmaster. Yeah, I think so. I really like her design. I don't know why. Something just clicks with me with her design, so I like her. When it comes to my favorite character from Shiny Colors, I would say it's probably Kaho. I think I really appreciate when characters are there just to have fun and to get to cheer people up and to make sure that the mood is good, that everyone's having fun. I love those kind of characters, and Kaho is that in a bottle, completely concentrated. I love the energy that she brings. I love the passion that she has. She's extremely polite. She is just positive vibes, just radiating positive vibes, and she's always making sure that people are having fun, which I can appreciate a lot more than someone who's there to bring the mood down, right? So I really like Kaho. I think, yeah, she is my favorite character now at the end of the show still. I also like some of the other characters. I think Mano and her character development was one of the more interesting parts of this entire show, of this of Shiny Colors, especially if you compare Mano from the beginning to now. It was very passive and in the background. We didn't really focus fully on Mano and her character development much throughout the show, but when you compare Mano now here at the end to Mano at the beginning, you can tell that she has changed a lot and grown a lot, which is really cool. You know, you can see, like, the way that they show her development is purely from interactions, right? So you don't necessarily see her character developing, but sometimes you would see like her interacting with other characters and you can tell, oh, she's getting more confident. Oh, she is getting more knowledgeable about the idol sphere and stuff like that. She knows how she's becoming a better leader, and all of those things. You can tell that she's changing slowly but surely, and it's so satisfying to watch, even though it's never really pointed out in the front and center, right? And then I also really liked the entire final arc here of the final few episodes that were focusing on different units, or different characters more specifically, right, from different units. I actually really like them. Some of the episodes were better than others, but especially I think the last two ones, the Choco and Toru one, were my favorites. They were fantastic. They explored some really cool stuff, right? Really cool ideas. The Choco one was maybe a bit less unique and more so just really well done, simple story. Whereas I feel like the Toru one really explored a interesting concept and an interesting character trait of Toru. Like, I talked about it a bunch. I'm not gonna regurgitate my same points that I had earlier, but yeah, it focuses on some really cool stuff that I haven't seen before, and yeah, it was really well done. So all in all, I liked Shiny Colors. I don't think it was a bad series whatsoever. Oh yeah, the last thing that I want to talk about with Shiny Colors is the animation. I think unfortunately it is a step down from Million Live, which I think in a bubble, Shiny Colors does not have bad CG or bad animation. I've seen bad CG and it gets way worse than this. I think it's just very solid, the animation. Whereas I think the Million Live animation was actually incredible for a pure CG show, especially after I got used to the entire blending of 2D and 3D that they were doing. Whereas here, I think it's just solid, which is unfortunate. I think the biggest detriment, as I said, is that it is gonna get compared to Million Live inevitably, just because they're both Idolmaster, right? So in comparison, it is worse. It's definitely a step down, but in a bubble, it's still very solid animation. I will say one thing that I loved, and I pointed it out before with Shiny Colors, with its animation, and more specifically, yeah, it is animation, is how they animated each of the characters' like personalities. They made sure that each of the character was expressing their personalities through their movement and their body language and stuff like that. And I feel like they did that way more than other Idolmaster shows have. So you could tell sometimes they were dancing, and each of the characters would do it a bit differently, with a bit less or different amounts of energy. Sometimes they would just be sitting, and you can tell from the way that they would sit differently. Kaho, let's say, you could tell how, like, the way that she bowed and stuff like that was very different. Like, those small things, I think this series actually did fantastically well. And I don't think I've seen it in other Idolmaster shows. Like, I don't think I've seen it being done to this degree. So I think that was one small subtle thing that I really appreciated about Shiny Colors. So now that I've said that, I want to go into Idolmaster as a whole. So I kind of want to talk about first my favorites and my least favorite, or not least favorite. I'm not going to talk about least favorites. I'm just going to talk about my favorites. So my absolutely favorite, I guess, season, setting, what's it called? The series? Yeah, Idolmaster series, that's it. My favorite Idolmaster series. Probably, if you've watched basically all of them, you can probably guess which one it is. Maybe, try. Maybe, yeah, it is STEM. STEM is my favorite Idolmaster series. And I will say, I don't think it's close. Don't think it's close. I think it's way, way, way head and shoulders my favorite one. Now, I will say it had a bit of an advantage, I think, purely because I did binge watch it, most of it at least. I binge watched most of it because I was pre-recording at that time for my trip when I was going to Japan. So I definitely had the advantage of just being able to like fully immerse myself into a world and just watch it for like, I don't know, 8 episodes in a row and just have fun with that. And I think that definitely added to my experience with STEM and definitely added some points in my head to how I feel about STEM probably. I don't know how much it has to do with the fact that it's a male idol show. This is my only male idol show that I've ever watched, so I can't tell that. I don't know if, yeah, if the characters being guys actually made it so that, I don't know, maybe I could get more invested because I'm a guy. I don't know. But either way, though, I absolutely love it. I think my favorite part of STEM was also, well, there were a few things. I think one of the things is the age gaps were, it was so refreshing. It was just so refreshing to see people being in their 30s and being idols, and then also being in the same group as someone who's like 14 or whatever. And I wish Idolmaster utilized that more even with the female ones, but obviously the probably the fandom is different between female idols and male idols, and also the expectations and the I guess what they like is gonna be different. So I guess they know they probably have a statistic that tells, okay, this is what works for a female show or a female idol show. This is what works for a male idol show, I'm sure. But I really appreciated the entire age discrepancy between the characters. I thought it made it so much more interesting. And also, I really like the fact that they could just be chill and drink a beer on the beach and just hang out with the boys. And I really appreciated that. Also, they felt like the most human characters inside them, if that makes any sense. They felt extremely chill and extremely human, extremely realistic, more so than a lot of the female idols that we've seen here. Because a lot of the female idols, I feel like anime characters, if that makes sense. But a lot of the STEM characters feel like actual like characters, just people, you know. Not all of them. There were some that were a bit more anime, some that were a bit less. But at the end of the day, they feel a lot more human. At least they did when I watched it. So yeah. I loved STEM. It's definitely my favorite. And I think the OG would probably be second. I'm not gonna rank all of them just because I feel like that's unfair, because all of them have different things that I enjoyed about them. I think the OG would probably be second, and then maybe U149, maybe. I really like U149. But either way, I also love the OG. My favorite character in all of Idolmaster put together is Iori. I would say it's Iori. Iori is my favorite one, and I think a lot of the heavy lifting is being done by Rie Kugimiya, maybe, because I think just having Rie Kugimiya as a VA bumps up a few points for her, but also I really liked her character arc. I think she had a fantastic character arc from like this Ojo-sama to kind of changing a bit as a person, kind of similar to how Nemo was also, or Mano, I don't know why I keep wanting to say Nemo. Mano was also changing, right? I think she also had subtle development, Iori, and I really appreciated that. Also, I just like the energy that she was giving off. But maybe if I rewatched it now, maybe I would feel differently. I would say that she's my all-time favorite member of Idolmaster altogether. There's no other character that comes to my mind that I would put close to that. So I think she left the biggest impression on me altogether. Yeah, I would not be comfortable putting any other character up there. So I would say that she's my favorite. And yeah, I think it was altogether, yeah, really good. Oh yeah, I guess I can talk about Idolmaster as a whole, as a series, my thoughts on it, right? I didn't really say much about that. So I didn't know what Idolmaster was going into it. You guys could probably tell when I first started it, I didn't know whether the units and the actual groups and stuff like that were actual real units that exist in the actual world who actually do performances as well, or if it was an anime only thing. I knew nothing about it, right? Apart from obviously I knew that it was kind of like an idol simulator game in the game format, right? So I was guessing that that's what the anime was about as well. So going into it, I think there were some incredible moments, especially the OG Idolmaster, but I will say, I think one's trend, I guess, that I was happy to see that it wasn't continued on that much in the later adaptations, is one thing that I didn't like was how it felt like it had a formula of, oh, there's this happy stuff, and then there's this like cool business stuff, and then the final few episodes are always need to have some kind of like dramatic climax that just feels shoehorned in, and that I feel like that persisted on for so many of the series, Idolmaster series. And I'm happy that the last few series didn't really feel that way. Like this one here, obviously it has some dramatic moments, shiny colors, but it didn't have them to the degree that the other Idolmaster series did, right? I feel like they were just cool episodes that were kind of going deeper, having a deeper look into the character. It wasn't necessarily overly dramatic and stuff like that, and I really appreciated that. Same thing with Million Live. It wasn't like an overly dramatic one. It was just a really good episode, like a character episode and stuff like that. But the ones that I wasn't a fan of is obviously this feels bad to say because I know a lot of people love that episode, but I wasn't a fan of how the entire Chihaya situation was integrated in the OG Idolmaster. I really wasn't. Like, obviously the situation is horrible and stuff like that, and it's really sad, but I wasn't a fan of how it was integrated into the story. I preferred the drama about... I'm forgetting the names, guys. The drama that came after that, about not being able to see... like not spending as much time with your members and stuff like that, right? That drama I thought was a bit better done, but still. And the same thing with STER. Like, obviously I said that it is my favorite Idolmaster. I will say, I did not really enjoy the entire drama arc towards the end of it. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on... But I think the best parts of Idolmaster are, first of all, the look into the industry, right? I think that's definitely my #1 favorite part, is just seeing how the industry works and seeing how they portray the industry was really cool. And then the other cool thing is they would sometimes just drop episodes that would be so well animated and so creative and stuff like that, which I've talked about previously many times. Like in the OG one, it was the one where there was like a lost ring and they had like a full-on kung fu like sequence or whatever. It wasn't kung fu one, it was like an action sequence from... I'm forgetting Makoto and stuff like that. That episode was my favorite from the OG. And then in Cinderella Girls in season 1, I think it was episode 4, it was the one episode where they were making the PV, and for some reason it was just popping off when it comes to the animation, the directing. It was an incredible episode, incredible, out of nowhere, and that is by far and beyond my favorite episode of Cinderella Girls, not even close. So yeah, sometimes they would just pop off with those episodes, and those are my favorites, right? And yeah, those are some of my favorite parts of Idolmaster as well. I think Idolmaster is at its best when it's telling a fun story about the characters, or when it's having fun with those kind of things, or when it's just talking about the industry in like a pretty interesting lens. I do think that it does suffer from just telling, like, shoehorning in drama where it doesn't need to be there. That's my opinion on it. I think maybe that's only an anime issue. Maybe in the game it's done better, but it definitely, a lot of the drama felt very shoehorned in, and it felt like, oh, let's just put in drama because there needs to be drama, not because it actually adds anything to the story, you know? At least that's how it felt to me. But as I said, I am an anime only, and I've come to realize after watching a few of the Idolmasters that this is usually not trying to necessarily create like a perfect self-contained anime story. I think I've mentioned this before as well. It's not perfect, like, it's not necessarily trying to create a perfect self-contained anime story. It's usually more so trying to showcase some of the strengths of Idolmaster and get people to actually go on and, you know, check out the games and stuff like that. So I think it's more so kind of like, no, I don't want to say an advert, that's not make it sound like it's purely there as an ad, but I do think it is there to entice people to get interested in the entire universe of Idolmaster, which is fine, right? It is fine, but it does make it so that the anime experience can be a tiny bit underwhelming at points, right? Anime-only experience, I should say. But either way, though, we still have the OVA to watch, but as I said, I wanted to kind of ramble on about this a bit because I know some people are not interested in watching the OVA, so I kind of wanted to talk about it here, which is the end of the show. And that's gonna be all. I think I said most of the things that the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the entire producer thing, right? I think, honestly, some of my favorite producers, I think the producer in Shiny Colors here is one of my favorites, just because he was just an employee. That's it. Who's working really hard. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I think my least favorite producer is probably from the OG Idolmaster. I think he was the weakest link for me from Idolmaster. I did not like how flirty he was with some of the characters and stuff like that. So yeah, and also I kind of like the Cinderella Girls producer, but over time he also got a bit soured for me. I think this is probably the perfect producer for me here in Shiny Colors, because he as I said, he's just there trying his best to be a good employee, and that's it. He wasn't getting overly like close to the girls or attached to the girls. So that's one thing that I really appreciate about Shiny Colors, is how they manage the producer. Anyways, I think I've yapped for long enough. I don't know what else I would have to say about it. So yeah, those are my opinions. I probably forgot a bunch of things that I wanted to say about it, but it is what it is. That's how it works. Next time, in tomorrow's episode, we're going to be going into the OVA. So yeah, see you in that one. But for now, I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the OVA. Peace.